are the typical types of contracts that a business or agreements that a business should have? Just any type of business should have these 3 or 4, or is it 5 or 6 or 10 or 15 types of contracts or agreements?
Sure. Well, the question depends on the size of the business, but I'd say as a matter of course for most businesses, I always try to start with the genesis or the inception of the business. So you want to have a corporate or business governance document that would be an operating agreement or a shareholder agreement. So you really want to know from the start, the inception of the business, how are we going to govern? And unfortunately, you have to make some decisions about what happens if the business fails, or if the owners or partners or investors, if it doesn't work out. So you have to think going into it, how are we going to govern ourselves, and then also what happens unfortunately if there's a divorce in terms of investors and owners. So like I said, you want to have a shareholder agreement, an LLC agreement. With an LLC formation, you'd have an operating agreement. You'd also want to have a buy-sell agreement, which is essentially, in a sense, it's kind of like life insurance for the company, where what happens when a key business owner dies, unfortunately, or a key business owner decides to move on or leave, or what happens upon the transition of the business. You have to protect yourself, because if you don't deal with those issues on the front end, in Florida here we have hurricanes. If you don't prepare for the hurricane, when the hurricane comes, you got some real issues in terms of cleanup and how do we go about restoring the community. Same with a business. You want to make sure you're preparing to be successful, but also preparing in case these unfortunate circumstances happen. That would be a buy-sell arrangement. So on the front end, I want to protect who's going to make decisions, how those decisions are going to be made, who has the voting power, and then what happens if something happens to an owner or there's a divorce of some sort. Those are your governance documents.